Hey there, everybody. It's your girl Barbie J here with the recap and review of Tyler Perry's comedy drama, The Oval, Season 5, Episode 14, Off the Deep End. Now, this episode starts with two agents at Victoria's bed, Agent Isaac and this other female. And he's asking her to get up. And, Victoria thinks she could talk to the Secret Service any way she want to, but it ain't going down like that today. It sure was not. And he told her to get up. Final warning. She's like, I must be dreaming. No, you are not dreaming. Let me lay back down and see. He's like, ma'am, get up. I'm not going anywhere. He sends the female over there. The female agent pulls her out of bed by her feet to the floor. Woo! She hit the floor. So, are you crazy? Then she tried to fight the lady, and the lady blocking her. And then she gets her and, get her hands behind her back. The agent gets her with her hands behind her back. And she's like, you're treating me like a criminal. You're treating me like a criminal. He said, let her go. And he said, ma'am, you are a criminal. You are under arrest for the assassination attempt of the President of the United States. She's like, what are you talking about? He's like, ma'am, come with us. You are being detained. The president has asked us to detain you. She's like, I'm not going anywhere. He nods, tase her. And then she hits the floor. Sorry. Oh my God. This is me laughing at Victoria getting tased, y'all. Oh my God. That was so cool. I had to watch it again. So they get Victoria up off the floor, and she's like, what is going on? And he said, the president would like to see you, and if that you resisted, that we could use any means necessary to bring you there. She said, but Eli didn't do that. He said, Eli's not the president. Hunter is the president, or whatever he said. And she's like, no, he's not. He said, I'm not going with you. He said, tase her again. She's like, oh, no. So he said, okay, copy that. And he goes, he wants to see you now. And she left with them. That was so funny. I know I'm going to play that back over at least 5 more times. Anyhow, now we over at the car with Bobby and Max. And I still don't like Max. He gets on my nerves. He really does. Bobby's offering to stay and follow up, with the stakeout. And Max go home and rest. And Max is like, well, if you could stay up, I could stay up. He's like, Max, you've been up for 18 hours. So have you. He said, I'm Bobby, baby. I got this. Well, I got it too. I was like, oh, Max, please. And Bobby's talking about how he beat that guy so bad that he couldn't see. And he's like, I had some frustration. I had to work out. And all of this stuff. I didn't like it. Then Bobby let him know that he had put up cameras in the Oval Office, and Max is getting all hyper. Oh, how could you do that? That's illegal. You can't do this. And it's like, take it down a notch, okay, Max? If you had thought of the idea, you would have had you would have thought it was great. But because it was Bobby who thought of it, you're snapping and everything. And Bobby's like, well, I'm the one that sweep it. They sweep the Oval every day. He said, I know. I'm the one that does the sweeping. He's trying to let him know, and he's getting all excitable. So he said that he's going to send Simone a message, an anonymous email with the video. He's going to make sure she sees it. Oh, so that's your trick because you want her to? You want her to? And he's like, no. And he's like, one thing you should know, never underestimate women like Priscilla and Simone when they're pissed. So Max says, oh, that's part of your stable? They're part of your stable? I said, no, you didn't. Are you calling them horses now? What are you saying? I didn't like what Max was saying. So I was glad when he decided to go home. Because then he tried to be funny. Oh, she gonna get an email from BarbiJBroxton. He was like, it'll be an anonymous one. And don't you worry. But she's gonna see it. She needs to. And they was talking about how Eli played them and how they got to get even with him somehow and take him down. So next we have a scene with Alan calling the FBI agents, was it Cal and Desiree, and letting them know that Jason was there. And they were like, he was there. Why was he there? He said, because he thinks we're friends. Oh, friends? He said, yeah. You know where he went? No, I don't know where he went. They keep asking the same thing. He's like, I don't know where he went. So they said they downloaded or uploaded, whatever, the information that he gave them and that it was good. They said, Alan, this stuff was good and we can use it. Then they said they would send a man out there to watch the building and said he should be there in 30 minutes. Alan saying no. They said, no, that's okay. He'll be in plain clothes so nobody will know. And he was like, okay, fine. So then they hang up and the female is saying, oh, we don't have nobody to send. Then he said, one of us is going to have to pull an all-nighter. So he said he'll do it. And she was like, I want you to treat me as an equal. He said, I'm going to treat you like the woman I love. I said, oh, so they got a little something going on. And she said, well, then I'll relieve the one you love, the one I love. I said, okay. And so they left. Now we got back to the White House, and Agent Isaac and another female are bringing Victoria in, pulling and screaming. She pissed as ever. Saying, Hunter, have you lost your effing mind? And he was like, look, I know about you and a DEA agent. And she's like, what are you talking about? And so he's like, plays the email. He said, I got an interesting text message. He plays it for her. And she's like, Hunter, you don't know what you're talking about. That wasn't for you. Let me explain. I'm not saying another word in front of these people. You don't know them. I don't know them. And she's like, you're such an idiot. He said, yeah, you keep saying that I'm an idiot and I'm stupid and all of that. He's like, but you know what? Look at you. Look at you now. She's like, Hunter, please, let me explain. You don't know. He's like, get this biatch out of here and put her in a bunker. I'm not going in a bunker. I'm not going in a bunker. He said, you going in a bunker or you're going to the morgue. They already tased you once and now they'll shoot on command. He said, no cot, no bench, no something else, nothing but the floor, something like that. He was like, I said, oh, snap. I am so sorry, y'all, but I am getting such a kick out of this, and I'm trying to contain myself, but I can't. I can't. I'm sorry this video gonna be so long because I keep laughing. But she was trying to be so sweet. Hunter, you're making a mistake. He said, no, dear, you did. And they dragged her out of there, pulling and screaming and kicking. So now this next scene was interesting because Agent Isaac came back and Hunter wants them to get the Eli now. And he said, we can't do that. It's a no-go. Why can't you do it? Because he's still the president. But you work for me. And yes, sir, that's an honor. But I'm telling you, it's a no-go. And you know Hunter, he's his privileged self. He's like, I can do what I want. He said, actually, sir, no, you can't. He said, but I'm the president. He said, well, he's the president until you take the Oval Office back. I was like, oops. And he said, look, I just hired your ass and I'll fire your ass. He said, no, you won't. He said, because then you'll be left with that clown show you have right here now. I said, oh, snap. And Hunter said, who do you think you are? Who do you think you're talking to? And he said, I am one of the best, sir. And I am talking to the president of the United States of America. I said, oh, snap. So Hunter's telling him, don't forget it. And he's like, I want what I want. I want it now. And he's like, you can't do that, sir. He said, what are you, a freaking lawyer? He said, yes, I am. And he said, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm only going to tell you the truth. And I said, that's what Hunter and them need. And they need a Secret Service person that will stand up to them and not fold like all these other weak ones around that keep folding. I bet you if he asks Agent Isaac for his gun, he will say, I can't do that, sir. I will not do it, sir. Then he decided he wanted to tell Agent Isaac about Jason and that he's out there somewhere afraid to come home because he know his mother tried to kill him. So Agent Isaac is like, wow, because he thought that Jason was dead, but now he knows he was alive and it was a different child in the bed. So Agent Isaac was sitting there going, we need to stack all these charges up so that we can lock her away for good and get the VP out of the president's office. And Hunter said, yeah. And you want to know the kicker? They're having an affair. He said, more of a reason why we need to get this done as quick as possible. So then Hunter asked him, has he ever been a chief of staff before? And he said, no. He said, when I get the Oval back, you're my man. And Agent Isaac said, deal, but I have to bring in my own team. He said, are they soldiers like you? He said, best in the business. He said, okay, I need to get some sleep. But before he went to bed, he asked Agent Isaac what he knows about psychological warfare. And he said a lot. He said, do me a favor. Go down there and torture her ass. I said, oh, snap. He said, with pleasure. And Hunter said, I like you, Isaac. Now we over to Kyle and Dale. They're at his apartment. Kyle, you know, Dale is uncomfortable, don't even want to be there, but he's there. And of course, Kyle wants them to drink and get relaxed and stuff. And Dale's like, what are we going to do? And then he starts talking about how he's going to probably get shot now because of Donald and what happened before. And they're talking about stuff in the past. This wasn't an interesting scene at all. But one thing I forgot to say is Kyle tried to offer Dale some blow and he's getting high. And Dale was like, no, thank you. Then Dale said he got to go to the bathroom. And Kyle was like, please don't send that tape that you were recording to anybody. He's like, what are you talking about? He said, I know you've been recording me since you've been in my apartment. He said, no, I haven't. He's like, look, he took the phone out of his pocket, threw it to him and said, check it out for yourself. Now I got to go piss. I said, oh, snap. Now we have, who's drunk? Simone, all drunk, calling Donald. I didn't understand the scene. She calls. She thinks he's in on it with everything with Eli and Victoria. Everybody thinks Donald's in on it. And you know why? Because Donald acts like he's in on it. And Donald put himself in that situation because any given day or time of a day, he is in on it. Some mess with either the president or Victoria or something. But she did tell Donald that he was right and they are having an affair. And Donald said he's sorry to hear that. And he's like, well, I think you should sleep it off. He keeps telling Simone to sleep it off because she's drunk and intoxicated and everything. And she's yelling at him saying they're dirty and they're scum and they're evil. And are you too? You just like them. And she just was like, I was like, would you shut up, girl, and stop calling people while you're drunk? All right. She said something about slapping a smug ass smile off of Victoria's face and all kind of stuff. She was going in. And he said, didn't you try that already? She said, yeah. And he said, yeah. And how did that go? That wasn't good. So you don't want to do that again. He's trying to talk her down, but she just kept drinking and drinking and drinking. So he made a deal with her. She could come into the White House tomorrow and she'll tell him what she knows and he'll tell her what he knows. And she's like, fine. And then she hangs up and then Eli comes down and he's like, who you talking to? She said, nobody and nothing. She's doing all of that and she's still drinking. And he's like, see, I hate when you get like this and you start drinking and you get mad at me. She said, what am I mad at you for? Because I made you apologize to the first lady and stuff. And he's like, I'm not sleeping with her. She said, don't you come in here and lie to me like that. And your bold-faced lie. I know you're sleeping with her. Don't start. I told you I want to talk about it. Leave it alone. He's like, I can't talk to you when you like that. This is what I'm saying. I can't talk to you when you like that. She was like, whatever. He's trying to get her to stop drinking. She's like, no, I'm not stop drinking. She said, because this is the only thing that's stopping me from coming with that slapping you upside your head. And she was doing a kind of a good drunk. She really was. It's better than some of the other ones I've seen. But he had the nerve to say, oh, you didn't get enough of that at the White House? I said, hold up. You listen to Victoria if you want. Simone whooped her ASAP, baby. Simone beat Victoria down. So you need to check yourself on your stats and your information that you get from Victoria, Eli. And then he starts with, I don't have time for your BS, Simone. She said, oh, so now my feelings are BS? She was like, you know what? He was like, look, I'm going upstairs. She looked at him. She gave him that black woman look, that black mother look, like, I will F you up. You need to just walk up those stairs and go your butt to bed. And that's just what he did. And all she had to do was with a look. She didn't even have to say it with a word. All right now. Hey. So now we have Sam bringing Richard in because he tore up from the floor up. And he put him in a chair in the dining room. And they sit down and they start talking about things. And, of course, Richard is supposed to be drunk. But I don't think he does a good drunk well. Anyway, he tells Sam that he's all right with him. And he's like, thank you. And he said something about he tried to beat his ass one day. He said, but they were fighting. And Sam said, I didn't try. I did beat it. He's like, no, let's just call it a draw or something like that. He tells him he could have Barry's room. He said, good, cool. Then they start talking about Hunter. How Hunter's so paranoid, he made me drink his soup. And he said, I know you was mad when he made you put that comfort over your head. He said, I could see it in your eyes. I said, what Richard should have told him is, yeah, but Priscilla didn't drink that soup. Richard didn't tell how he was a punk and did everything the president told, and Priscilla refused to do it. That's what I wanted him to tell. Then he asked Sam if he missed Priscilla, and he said, yeah. And he said, well, how could you do that you did to him and all this stuff? And he said, I told you already what happened, you know. He said, yeah, but you did that. He said, Sam said, you know what? I'm going to bed now. He said, I knew that'd get your ass up out of here. And so Sam left to go to bed. And Richard just put his head down on the table and said, I don't feel like going up those steps. And went to sleep right there on the dining room table. So now we have Kale in the car. He's calling Desiree. And he said he thinks he sees an agent car out there, sitting out there. He said a black guy, big guy. And she said it sounds like Bobby. Of course, Bobby the only black one. Sam is one too, but he's short, right? And she said, well, Simone says she trusts him. He said, do you think I should approach? She said, no, it's too risky. You know, so they're talking and he goes, uh-oh. And she's like, what? He noticed that Bobby wasn't there. Next thing, Bobby is jumping in the car with him saying, who the hell are you? So Bobby peeped him watching him, you know. But they were saying, do you think they're waiting for the same thing, looking for Jason? And he believed so, but they didn't know for sure. So when Bobby started questioning him, saying, who the hell are you? Cal said, Bobby, right? And he said, I said, who the hell are you? And he said, Cal Dennis, FBI. And he said, what are you doing here? And he's like, I got to ask you the same question. But what I need to know is, are we on the same side? And Bobby said, that all depends on the reason why you're here. I said, Bobby ain't even playing. Then Kale was like, why don't we put the guns away first? And Bobby wasn't even trying to do it. And when Kale finally put his away, Bobby still had his out. He was not playing. I said, my man, Bobby. Kale was like, we both got on vests. He said, yeah, but your head is clear. Bobby. So again, Bobby asked why he's here. And Kale said, I'm here looking for a kid. He said, why? He said, to protect him because he's the key to bringing all of this to an end. So Bobby said, give me your card. He gave him the card and said, if you check out, then we'll talk. And he asked Bobby why he was crying. And Bobby said he got allergies. And he was like, oh, okay. And so he got out the car and Desiree was still on the phone. So she heard everything. And she was like, I'm on my way there. He said, you don't really have to come. She said, no, I'm coming. Because, you know, she has to relieve him because he's been up all night. Now, there was one part of that scene that was strange. When Bobby told Kale, we'll be in touch. He said, we? He said, yeah, me and my mother. And he said, you and your mother? He said, me and my partner. So was Bobby really crying? Like, is something wrong with his mother? Because then he sniffled like that and rubbed his nose. And I'm like, is there something going on with Bobby's mother? I don't know why they had him say that, or was that an error? I don't think that was an error because they could have cut that scene out. So somebody put it down in the comment section what y'all think about that part. Now we have Kareem and Antonio locked up in the bunker, and they're arguing with each other because Kareem is mad that Antonio told everything. You just had to tell everything. What is wrong with you? Would you just run on? He said, you might as well just tell everything so they'll let us go. He said, they're not going to let us go because you gave them all the information now. We have nothing. We have no value to them at all. So now we're just dead men. That's what he told them. Antonio's like, shit, yeah, what was I supposed to do? You know, and Kareem's like, I never should have got involved with you or hooked up with you. And Antonio's like, oh, I saved your pharmacy. It was falling apart. And then he started talking about Kareem. I mean, Sharon is in jail. I can't even say nothing. And he said, you think she told about Barry being dead in my bed? And Antonio's like, of course she did. You know she did. I was like, oh, stop listening to your cousin. He's a wild idiot right now. Kareem, you got more calmness than he does. And at this point, when they're going back and forth, they come dragging Victoria in there, fussing and fighting, and they looking at each other, and she gets in the cell, and they lock her in there, and she goes, who are you two? And Kareem told him, don't say nothing. She said, I asked your asses a question. I'm the first lady. Who are you two, and what did you do? And they still just ignored her and didn't say nothing. She said, oh, you want to play this game? Fine. And nobody said nothing. And then it ended with Priscilla and Nancy. Nancy made her breakfast and Priscilla's about to go to work. And she said she didn't have time for breakfast. And she was like, but guess what? She said, I packed it up for you so you could take it with you. She said, do you do this to Richard every morning? She said, yes. She said, you could stay here for as long as you need. I said, I know that's right. So Priscilla asked Nancy had Richard called her, and she said no. But she did say she's relieved that it's all out. She just hates that she hurt him so bad. And Priscilla said, well, I'm here for you. And Nancy said, well, I'm here for you too. So Priscilla asked her what she had going on for the day. She said, I don't know. I'm going to check and see if Richard canceled my credit cards or not. And she's like, he wouldn't do that. She's like, honey, he was pissed at me. You don't know that. So Nancy opens up her pocketbook and realizes, oh my God, my credit card. She said, what? She said, Barry had my credit card last. Oh no. She said, well, you know what? I'm going to call the credit card company and see, when's the last time he used it? That might be a key. And Priscilla said, yeah, that's a good idea. She said, so I'm going to go to work and I'll be back soon or something like that. And then Nancy gets on the phone to dial a company, and who comes up behind her and puts a knife to her throat but Jason. Now, how did Jason know where mother freaking Sam lives? Because that's Sam and Priscilla's house. I'm like, did either one of them try to help him before or something? I don't get it. I'm really confused by this. And why does he feel he have to put a knife to her throat? She ain't doing nothing to hurt him. I tell you, I don't know. This is Tyler Perry land, so we gonna have to work with it. So y'all put it down in the comment section what y'all thought about this episode, and I will see you all in the next video. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Subscribe, like, thumbs up, write a comment, join the conversation, and share because sharing is caring. It's your girl Barbie J saying peace.